number one, you have like faces, and the rule is to add your exponents together. So it'll be 3, and then the x will be 4 plus -2, which would be 3. 4 plus -2 is 2, which would be, you could leave it like that, or you could write it as 9. Number 2, this is a power to a power, so your rule is to multiply your exponents together. So you'd have 2, and your exponent would be -2 times 3, which would be -6. You're not allowed to write negative exponents, and you don't just erase the negative sign. You change it from the numerator to the denominator, and that's how you change the sign of the exponent. Now, if you wanted to keep going with that and write it as 1 over 64, I believe, that would have been fine too. Number 3, when you're dividing, you subtract the exponents. So this would be 3 to the 3 minus 6, which would be 3 to the -3, which again, just like the problem above, needs to be written as 1 over 3 to the +3 power. You could leave it like that, or you could make it that. Either way. Okay, number 4. When you have an exponent outside a fraction, that exponent gets distributed to both the numerator and the denominator. Now, if they have negative exponents, we can change them from the top to the bottom or the bottom to the top, and that'll change the sign on their exponent, which would be 2 to the 4th, 2 4 is 8, 16 over 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, or just plain old 16. Number 5, you need to distribute your exponent through the multiplication, just like you did through the division. 1 second. So that would become 3 to the 2nd, x to the 2nd, which you would just write as 9x to the 2nd. All right, number 6. Anything to the 0 power is 1, so this would be 1 times y to the -2. And anything times 1 is just whatever it is, but it has a negative exponent. So we take it 1 over y to the +2, and that's where you're done. 1 over y squared. On number 7, I'm going to take all my negative exponents and make them positive in the first step. So that'll become 5x squared, y, and then another x to the first. On the bottom, I'm just left with 2y to the third. And that becomes, these two x's become 5x to the third y over 2y to the third. And then I start to cancel and reduce. I have y to the first here, and y to the third there. So this one cancels out with one of those 3. So that's your final answer, 5x to the third over 2y squared. Move this x to the -1 to the top first to make it a +1, and then put those two together, adding their exponents together. On number 8, I'm going to do the same thing with my negative exponents. This is not a negative exponent. That's a negative number. It's different. -2x squared over 3xy to the third. I don't have any negative exponents in that, but I do over here. The 2 is okay. The y to the -1 here and the x to the -1 there need to switch places. So it'll be y to the positive, x to the +1 power. Now when we multiply across, we would get -4x squared y on top and 3x squared y to the third on bottom. Now we'll start to cancel. X squared on top, x to the squared on bottom, means those are going to cancel out completely. Y to the first on top, y to the third on bottom. That y to the first is going to cancel with one of those three. We left it y to the second, so the answer would be negative 4 over 3y squared would be reduced. So this would become, if I want to make that have a positive exponent, everything, that's the only thing that would change. It would still be 5x squared y over 8 times negative 2y over x to the third y, and then that x that I brought down. I'm showing some extra steps, but hopefully we'll get to the right place at the end. You get negative 10 x squared y squared. Okay. These two make y squared. There's not another x on top, so x squared, and then 5 times negative 2 is my negative 10. On the bottom, 8 x to the third times x is x to the fourth. Y doesn't have any other y's to multiply by, so it stays there. Now we start to reduce. 10 and 8 reduce to 5 and 4. Negative sign stays where it's at. I have x squared on top, x to the fourth on bottom. That one goes away completely, and 2 of these go away. So I'm left with x squared on bottom. And then y's, I have a y to the first and a y squared. That 1 cancels with one of those 2. I'm left with y to the first on top. Now, that's completely reduced. Number 10, your rule is to add the exponents together. So here, this could be written as 7 to the 4 plus x power. And if that's equal to 7 to the 6th power, the bases are the same, then 4 plus x would have to be equal to 6. Subtract 4, that means x would have to be 2. If x is 2, you get 7 squared. So 7 to the 4th times 7 squared equals 7 to the 6th.